I think it's been fascinating working for Adobe. I love it. It's really marketing to marketers, and marketers have a high bar. Most importantly, always sort of be in touch with your customers. What's the voice of the customer? Are you starting with the customer? Are you really understanding their needs? Then it makes it easier to be innovative, to be creative, to build what they need. You absolutely have to be creative and innovative, but you also have to marry that with analytics, understanding what the data is telling you. But most importantly, what are you doing for the customer? What are you building for the customer? And then understanding the signals that are coming back. How are they responding to this campaign or this creative or this content? And I think when you marry both the data signals, the quantitative with qualitative, are you talking to customers every day? Are you hearing what they think? Are you getting their feedback on products, on offerings? When you bring those two together, it makes you a better marketer. It makes what you're bringing to market more powerful. If you think about the last sort of 18 plus months, if you go back before that, marketers really understood things like search, how their customers were looking for products. What would brand discovery be? It would really be focused on traditional SEO, right? Search engine optimization. I may have had a longer term vision about my brand's visibility and my brand's discovery. That suddenly changed with this new customer behavior. So how do I adapt? I think that having, humans in the loop, humans in the center of whether you're talking about creative, whether you're talking about campaigns, whether you're talking about, especially on the marketing side, the next sort of innovation, I think that's important. Humans working with agents, coworkers, we actually have an agentic marketing agent. We call it CX Coworker. Our team uses it. Being able to come up with amazing ideas and then scale those ideas quickly is really key. You have to sort of have the outcome you're looking for, have the vision you're going for, but you have to be flexible. Right? In the moment, in the day, things change. You get new insights, whether it's from the market, from the industry, from the customers. You have to be able to synthesize and really figure out where do we need to go next. If you think about what are you optimizing for as a business, as a team, if you ask about what about the next 10 years, I think even 5 years is a little long with the pace of change currently. I think you have to think about over the next 18 months, what do you really want to optimize for? And I do think understanding your customer, but more importantly, understanding this sort of new audience of agents. People are using agents to find things, to buy things, to help them assess what do they want to do here? What's the thing they prefer in this category? Understanding how, as a marketer, or really as any sort of business leader, how you're really thinking about agents as this new emerging audience, I think that's important. There are things as a leader you really want to know. Some of it just comes with experience, but being comfortable operating in times of ambiguity, being able to look around corners, I think those are really important. I definitely think there's going to be this mix of humans and agents working together to achieve a goal. I think it'll actually help folks be more productive. So I do think in the future, you'll see that mix of teams with a mix of outcomes, a mix of, who's working on what, but then I think a better ability for people to come together faster and respond faster. I think the biggest thing, not only on my mind, but really every CMO that I talk to, all of our customers, brand visibility. So as people shift their behavior for looking for information, getting information, educating themselves on a product or an offering or a brand, where are they going for that information? And brands have to be thinking every day, how am I showing up? How am I being referenced? And so brand visibility, especially for a marketer, is really top of mind. And it's like, I want to make sure my brand is being cited well. It shows up in the prompts that matter. It's very different from what marketers may have known with SEO. And now it's moving to agentic engine optimization. But that is like not only the content that you build and control, but also what's your community saying about you, what's your customer saying about you, what's the press saying about you. So I think marketers are really focused on how do they navigate that shift and how do they ensure really solid visibility for their brand. When I think about AI and its impact on future workforce, I think of a couple of different things. I think it's absolutely an amplifier, especially if I think about marketing teams, building campaigns, building creative. Not so much replacing humans. I still think humans are in the center of a lot of amazing creative and a lot of innovation and ingenuity. I do think that AI helps scale. I think that can be a great coworker as you're building teams, as you're thinking about all the things you can get done. There's always a new idea, a new campaign, a new innovation. And if you can have an agent working with you, if you can have a coworker working with you to help you scale, to help you amplify your impact, I think that's where AI shines. There's so much that in terms of marketing, AI is disrupting. So whether it's brand discoverability, whether it's building a content supply chain that allows you to personalize assets absolutely right to that customer, like right to that individual customer. There's a lot of new skills that you want to make sure your team knows and has. And so I think training and reskilling is important. We actually just partnered with LinkedIn to launch an AI Essentials set of training for marketers because this was something we heard a lot about. We got a lot of feedback from marketers. Hey, what do I need to know? Not only now, but over the next 18 to 24 months. So we built that knowing that it was needed. And I definitely think for marketing leaders, they have to make sure their team is skilled and ready.